Hello and welcome back to the Japan Game Junk podcast, and I am so excited to go over this store as visited on July the 21st of 2024. This is the Book Off and Hobby Off and Hard Off combination store in Kimitsu of Chiba. It's on Route 127. This is actually the most southeasterly hard off in Japan. So, sorry to say for those who don't have vehicular transportation that you can't really get there from here unless you do have a car. It's very far away from any other kind of transportation that I know of, but it's very sad if you can't visit and you're looking for something rare. This store has perhaps the most rarity of systems per square meter than any other store in Japan, including in Akihabara. So here we go. Some of the stuff that I found here, starting with some minor stuff. First, Rockman X5, Mega Man X5 for the PlayStation. Disc only, but in good condition. Only 300 yen, so I bought that because I had 4 and I had 6. Made sense to get 5 so cheaply. They also had plenty of Dreamcasts in the junk section, ranging between 1,500 and 5,000 yen. Unit only, no controller or whatever, but the ones that are super cheap are so yellowed and old looking and looking awful. Wow. You've never seen yellower plastic than this, but anyway, still they all are claimed to work. So if you don't care about how it looks, or you can clean it up, or you like it that color, then hey, 1,500 yen for a Dreamcast is not too shabby. Also, 5,000 yen was the kind of rarer skeleton blue original PlayStation 2, working and complete. Not complete, I'm sorry, but completely fine, I should say. All the ports work and all that stuff. You need to supply your own power cord and your controller and all that junk, but everyone has those things, right? So, PlayStation 2, skeleton blue version, working well, 5,000 yen. And also kind of strangely for myself, so I have F1 Circus for the PC Engine, just the game card only. I got it Sudagaya for 500 yen. I thought, you know what, any PC Engine game I don't have for 500 yen, I'll just get it. And then here at this store, they have the same one, but not just the game card, but in the protective plastic sleeve, and in the game case with the insert, no manual, but the back insert for 300 yen. And I felt bad, so I bought that one too. So my other one I bought for 500 yen from Sudagaya, maybe I never even open up or play it, because this one looks better and it was cheaper, and it's already kind of open a bit, with the case there, as opposed to a sealed plastic thing. But yeah. Also, a PC Engine, they have quite a few loose games there, including Space Invaders for 1,500 yen, a bit on the cheaper side compared to most places. And now we get on to the rarities. This is the Amazeball stuff. Okay, so I had gone my whole life only seeing 2 Apple Pippins for sale anywhere in Japan. It was only for sale, I believe, for a very short time, of course. But yes, the Apple Bandai Pippin, which in Japan is marketed heavily as Bandai as opposed to Apple, but the Atmark, so the upgraded version. It is the first time I'd seen this for sale boxed in Japan. They had freaking 2 of them. 2 Pippin Atmark units, complete in box, both of which the boxes look immaculate. 70,000 yen each. Yeah. I believe I do actually have a game that's compatible with the Pippin. It's a Mac game that I think has some Pippin compatibility or something, but I've never actually seen even the games for sale, so craziness. But if you're a collector, they have 2 of them. They're probably still there. Next up, they had an Atari 2800, not 2600. The Atari 2800 is basically the Japanese release of the 2600, and the switches are replaced by, the switches on the top, they're replaced by kind of hard buttons that you press, and they press and depress, But otherwise, it's the same as the 2600, but the build quality is a bit better too. So if you don't have a 2600, the 2800 is the way to go, and here you can get one for 20,000 yen. They also have a game system I'd never seen for sale before, the PV1000. I believe this is one of the most unsold systems, one of the rarest systems ever made. It's from Casio, and it was made before they released a separate system, which was an upgraded version that was not compatible with the PV1000 games or something. And yeah, this thing is rare as they come. It does not say if it works. It has some scratches and dust on it, and it doesn't include the AC adapter, so there's no guarantee. But if you want one of the rarest, if not maybe the rarest system ever made in Japan, you can get one here for 15,000 yen. Also, which has become incredibly rare in this country, and a bit of wistful but sad memory for myself, is an Atari Jaguar. The game does work, and it includes Alien vs. Predator, and it has all the the cables and the controller, everything you need. But at 60,000 yen, that's so much. I remember when they were being sold off at the KB Toys in the local mall for, I think, a 3,000, oh, sorry, I'm thinking in Japanese yen, $30 each, $30 US each. And because I was a big 3DO player, I was thinking, I don't want to support that terrible system. Even for $30, I will not buy a Jaguar. That's, that's a dead system. And of course, now the collector in me wishes I could go back in time and pick that up. But just below that, for much less money, in fact, 5 times less, for 12,000 yen, is a V Saturn. I've been seeing a lot of these lately. The Victor JVC V Saturn. Of course, more expensive than I paid for it, as I paid about 1/10 of that price, a little bit more than 1/10 of that price. But it's there. A V Saturn, nice shape, 12,000 yen. And they had a complete of course, because unopened box of the Sega Game Gear link cable that you connect the Game Gears together to play games together. I'm sure I've seen it loose much cheaper before, but I've never seen one box and unopened. And this one's here for 4,000 yen at this store. They also have a Puta Junior, one of the very, very first 16-bit, I don't know if you call it a game console, but it was released by Tomy in Japan. Puta Junior cartridges I've seen many times, but not as often I've seen the system itself. Here there's no way to check it, does not have the AC adapter included. But for 8,000 yen you can get it and see if you can get it to work. It does include the box and instructions, so there you go. For also 8,000 yen was a cassette vision. And this was the machine only. It was no check on if it works, but cassette vision, 8,000 yen. I've seen them before that had like poor video output for 5,000 yen, but as far as unchecked or working, this is the cheapest I've ever seen. A working Nintendo TV Game 15, which does have some noise in the video, it says, but you can use it, and it's pretty cheap, 5,000 yen for a TV Game 15. For 49,500 yen, I'm sorry, that's including tax, 45,000 yen, an Odyssey 2. To my knowledge, it's the first cartridge-based, game system that predates others, predates the Atari, for example, by a short amount of time. It's a rarity in the world and even more in Japan. But you can get one here at this store in Kimitsu, 45,000 yen. There's a chunk taken out of the box, I see, but it's not. It's not going to cut down on how many people would want to have this if you're looking for something like this rare item. For 40,000 yen, you can get an. This is something that, again, I think back to being a kid. Core system with no game. Genesis, Sega Genesis, the American-style Sega Genesis in box for 40,000 yen at this store. So, of course, it's not a Japanese system, so it's more expensive, but just remember how cheap it used to be. Not cheap, 100,000 yen. That's a lot of money. An Atari 65XE computer/game console. That is a lot of scratch. But, again, it works with all 8-bit Atari accessories and software and controllers, and I didn't grow up in a place where Atari computers were such a thing. And if you're wistful for that or wanted to have a chance to have one, this is the first one I've ever seen in Japan. 100,000 yen, you can have an Atari 65XE. You can also get an Intellivision here for 30,000 yen, boxed. But it's not in as good condition as you can get the one for 20,000 yen at the Bookhof in Ashikaga in Tochigi. Let's see what else. CD Genjin. So this is, I think, Air Zonk on the PC Engine CD. It's 20,000 yen. Kind of pricey. Looks nice, though. And, the electronic book adapter for your Sega Saturn. I was tempted to get this just to have it, but you do need to have the mouse to have it work, which I do have. But anyway, it's like the little plug-in thing for your Saturn, and also has the CD to go along with it. And I guess there are certain digital books that were released on CD-ROM, and this can play them. And but it's 800 yen, super cheap, but I didn't get it. Something else that I was very happy to see was the Pachio-kun PC Engine CD-ROM game and Pachinko controller set. I'm happy to see it because it was 3,000 yen for a box that's kind of beaten up, and I remember getting mine for 2,000 yen way back when for a beautiful boxed version that was actually untouched and unplayed inside. I was very happy about that. Actually, it's weird. I got that originally, the Pachio-kun with the Pachinko controller, because I got my PC Engine system super cheap and didn't have a controller. And when I went to that store, this was cheaper than any PC Engine controller, and it included the game, and it was all nice and new. So I played my PC Engine games for a little while with the Pachinko controller, very big, very chunky, but it has all the buttons, and I didn't have to touch the Pachinko wheel or whatever, the thing you grab, I just used the D-pad and the 1 and 2 buttons and select and start, and it was my controller for a while. It was very wistful. Also for sale here, 1,500 yen was Home Mahjong for the SG3000/SG1000 by Sega. Boxed and complete and good condition. And I'm only mentioning it because even though it's Mahjong, it's probably the best kept condition box I've seen for a game for the system before. There were also many Playdia games, which I thought was interesting. And the most interesting thing is that they're all complete new and unwrapped. And they range in price from 3,000 to 12,000 yen. One of the 12,000 yen ones being a dinosaur museum disc that I got for 100 yen. So, there's that, I guess. They had a Virtual Boy Tap, new in box. Very nice looking box as well. This is the one where you kind of slide it into the Virtual Boy controller and you can play your games with the AC adapter, which you do want to do, because you're not really carrying this around anyway. And, it's batteries are expensive. But it's 4,500 yen. Maybe about the same price as you'd find elsewhere, but the box is very nice. Very, very strange to see that they had several of these, but they look nice, but Sega Saturn analog control sticks, analog controllers, the ones that came with Knights way back when. They had quite a few of these, all of them for 5,000 yen. It's crazy. I thought they should be cheap, but oh well. But still, it was a great visit to a great store, and I really, really recommend people to visit this store. Again, Kimitsu, it's a city in the southern part of Chiba, on that peninsula there. It's really not possible to go there. I think that unless you were to have a rent-a-car or something in Japan, it would probably be hours and hours to get there from Tokyo, for example. But for such rarities, if you're in the market to actually really buy some rare stuff, and you're going to spend a lot of money to get some stuff you can't get elsewhere, or much cheaper than elsewhere, I mean, you got to go. You really got to go to the store, but, I'm sorry, I can't give you a ride. You got to You can't just be a cheap tourist. You got to get your car, go there, pick up all the stuff you want. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. And yeah, again, not the best store I've ever visited. There are some better warehouse-style stores. There's a better book-off store, but for hard-off stores, this is probably the best one for retro games and stuff. Hope you have the chance to visit when you can. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.